Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Well, today we're going to be doing ornaments for using sea glass, or some people call it beach glass. My girlfriend Becky has a house that's near Lake Erie, and Martha Stewart had in her Martha Stewart Living top 10 beach glass or sea glass beaches in, I think, the United States, and she named the beach that's by Becky's house to be one of the top 10. It's called Walnut Beach, and it's in Ashtabula County in Ohio. Becky collects sea glass and has talked about making ornaments, and I said, I have these glass balls, let's make them. We learned a lot along the way, and so I thought I would impart what we learned with you. The first thing we learned is don't put a lot of sand in, because you'll end up shaking everything so that, hold on, I'll show you, so that it's now gone. You see that? So you have to really, there's a lot of stuff in there, but you have to really be careful about the amount of sand you use. So let's talk first about sea glass. Becky was a professor. She's retired now, aren't we all? And she gave me a big lesson on sea glass. And the first thing that she told me is it takes 10 years minimum, but normally around 50 years, according to experts, to turn glass, this is regular green glass, to turn it from this into sea glass or beach glass. What it does is the sand beats down the edges so they become smooth, and it takes the surface from shiny to a matte finish. And the different colors come from different things that the ships would throw overboard. Now, these are not things that people throw in from the beach. Those things would just wash back up on shore. It has to be into a deep lake, like one of the Great Lakes, or an ocean, in order to make beach glass. So what Becky said was that the colors are from different products, and the brown comes from beer bottles, just your basic beer bottle. Green comes from Rolling Rock beer bottles or medicine bottles. And those are old medicine bottles, because you think about how long it's been since we've had a green medicine bottle. White also came from medicine bottles. That's much more common, you would think. And it also came from glasses and from china that would be on board ship. Then there's a red. The red is the rarest of all of them, and it is from the lens from a ship. Now, I have these bluish colors. I don't know what they're from. I'm going to have to ask Becky about that. Becky did give me all of the glass that I have. I got my sand in a couple locations. We'll first talk about where you can buy sand. Walmart sells this sand. It's called sand with glitter. There's no glitter, let me tell you. It's just white, and I like white sand because it looks better in the bauble, if you will. And then my sister bought me some little packets of sand that she got at a craft store, and they were a variety of colors, including white. I don't know where my white packet went, but there's the label from it. There's the white. It's called Art-C, and I don't know where that came from, but she got me all these little packets. These work perfectly for the little balls that we're going to fill, and I bought these at a garage sale. They were tinsel, and I just cut them off, and I'm using them as they are. Can you see that? And then the other ones, the big ones, those are so easy to find. You find those anywhere. And now's a great time, well, after Christmas is even a better time to buy them. Let's talk more about sand. In the 1990s, Rich and I went to Bermuda for a trip with the bank. We hired a taxi driver to take us around the island, and I really wanted to see the pink sand beach. Well, I couldn't walk very well, and their beaches are really down over these big embankments. I mean, I'm talking maybe 150 feet down a really rickety path, and the taxi driver said to us, I don't think you can get down there. He was very, very sweet. He said, I don't think you can get down there, but wait a minute. And he went down to the beach with a baggie, and he brought me back Bermuda pink sand. I was really concerned that I shouldn't bring it back, but he assured me that they wouldn't mind since it was such a small amount, and it's in the bottom of this glass container. This glass container holds all kinds of seashells that Rich and I have picked up on our travels over the years, and we've had it in a room that no one ever looks at this, we never really think about it, we just know that we have it. And when Becky talked about making these sea glass ornaments, I thought, what a great idea to use some of my seashells in this project, as well as I put my sea glass that she gave me inside. So that's what the Bermuda sand looks like. It's very pink. It's even pinker when you put it with something pink, as I'll show you here. So these are the ones that I played with. You can see the little bit of sea glass that's in there. It's hard to get sea glass in these little wee ones. And then the pink sand, I put little pink beads in with it, and boy, that really made that show up. But you have to have a lot of beads to your sand mixture. The reason that I'm showing this so late in the season is this is a great thing for you to think about this summer when you go on a trip and you either pick up a seashell somewhere, or you pick up sea glass somewhere, and you think, oh great, my kids have a big ton of this stuff. It's something that next Christmas you can make it into a keepsake. So that's what I'm showing it to you for now, is that next year to make as a keepsake for next year. Here's one where I used a little a little bit of gold tinsely stuff that I got from Michael's. It comes in it's already attached, so it's got this the sticky stuff behind it already, and I just stuck it on the side of that and put some green baubles in there and made it roll. This one I did the same with brown beads and a little brown sea glass and a little green sea glass, and I think, yeah, and a teeny tiny, I don't know if you can see that seashell that's brown right there. So I wanted to make very quickly make a couple and show you how to do this. The thing that I think works best when you're using the sand is to use a funnel, and sometimes these have some rough edges in the inside with glass, and I just kind of took scissors and went around the inside with it and just kind of broke off anything that was really impeding the hole, and dumped it in the trash. So all I did was I put a funnel inside, and I'm using this white sand from Walmart. Don't use a lot of it. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you. At the very most, I don't know if you can see how much is in there, maybe a half an inch of sand at the very most in the bottom. I don't know if you can you see that? Hopefully you can tell how much is in there. That's actually probably more than you want, because when you shake these, everything disappears. So the second tip I have is don't shake it. Once you start putting things in it, you want to keep it sturdy and stable. Don't play with it. So I'm just going to drop a few seashells in mine. And this is all memorabilia for Rich and I. Different beaches, different vacations, different times in our lives, and we just always put them in this little bowl. So it wasn't like we ever had a plan for them, but I thought it would be fun to now add some sea glass in it to give it some color and a little bit of diversity, because most seashells that we find are pretty commonly colored in the beiges and the browns. So okay, that's the amount of sea glass, and well, maybe I can get some of this pretty blue glass in there too. Watch, Becky will say, oh my word, don't get rid of that blue. That blue's the most rare. But we're not going to. We're just going to make it into a keepsake. So then what I did was I went to my stash of bobbly things. I bought this whole box at a garage sale, because you know me and garage sales, I love them. And I really liked, when I did it before, I already took it out, this one that has the tiny little, I don't know what you call these, seed beads maybe? I'm making it up. Don't go with what I'm saying. Just tiny beads that are multicolored, because I thought it really added a lot of color. Don't be cheap with this part of it, because this is what happens if you don't use a lot right now. You're not going to have any show up if somebody shakes it, or once it's stored for the winter and then next year when you bring it out you find out that everything moved. I'm going to put some of these blue longer, I don't know what you call these either. We'll call these blue long beads. I'm just shaking in a little of this and a little of that just to add some color and to make it more interesting to the eye. You can go with a gold or a silver. You can pretty much put anything in here. Then I have these ones that are kind of multi-purpley blues, and then I'll show you the problem you have when you move it a little bit around. I like that blue. I don't have anything in the ones I've made that really has this blue color in it. So then let's say that you moved a little bit up, and then your sand starts to take over the ball. What I did was I just kind of played with it until I got everything back to the surface again. And that just is going to take some time, but you'll master that, trust me. Then you're going to put your topper in, and this is another problem you're going to have. When you tip this over, you're going to have sand come out. So what I did was I took my glue gun and I just put a little line of glue in that opening so that it doesn't have a problem with letting the sand out. Gee, I forgot what that was called. Letting the sand out. I forgot one other thing to tell you. I also ran a little bit of glue on the inside to hold it down, because when you put this back in, and be careful, this is going to get really hot. When you put this back in, you want something that's going to hold it down, the lid, basically. Otherwise, your sand is going to come out. So I'm pushing down on the top now. I've got glue in there and I'm pushing it down, and we'll test it to see if we end up having glue come out, and if we do, then we'll add a little bit more hot glue. I'm just letting it take the time to harden. Okay, so I think that's probably pretty good. So I have a string. I like to do cord or string that matches the look of it, and you can put this on a couple different ways. I'll show you 2 different ways to do it. You can put the loop through like that and hold it, and then you tie another knot up here at the top by holding it down, running it through like that. And then what you can do, if you want, is after you've done this much, then you'll snip off the tops. I'm not a huge fan of the way this looks, so I'm going to take it off, and I'll show you how we did the other ones. All we did was we ran the string through like that, and then we just made a knot at the top. And I thought that looked simple and clean. And then you can snip your ends like that. So now the moment of truth, let's see if you'll hear the paper underneath if I have sand come out. We're going to see if the sand comes out. Did you hear that? No sand is coming out. So that worked. If you don't do that, you're going to have sand come out everywhere. Valuable lesson learned. Let me tell you, I had sand everywhere. So then let's make one teeny tiny one, and this will only take a minute because it's just putting the sand into it takes no time at all. I put the funnel over it, and I'm using the Bermuda sand for this. And you can put more sand in these. I'm just trying to get the sand to come out. There we go. You can put more sand into this one than you did in the other one, because there isn't enough room for everything to shake to the bottom like it did on the other one. Let's see, how would I do? That's plenty. Okay, now that I've got sand literally everywhere, we're going to pick a bead color or a little bit of sea glass. It's really hard to find things that will go into that little opening. Let me tell you, I play with this. We had a heck of a time finding any of the sea glass that we could get to go in there. So let me just see, there's a little green one. I think that'll go in. The green, it seems like the green is the simplest to find in the tiny pieces that'll go in here. So when you're on the beach and you find a teeny tiny piece of green sea glass, don't discard it, because you might have a little one of these that you want to put your put something in, and you won't be able to get anything that fits if you use you only pick up the bigger pieces. There is another little piece of green, and I think that's it. Okay, so on my other green one, I think I did. I put the green and white in there. So let me see what else we could put in here to make it a little bit more frisky. I have these beads. This was a set that came with buttons and all kinds of beads, and I thought it was really, really pretty. The colors are really vibrant, and we're going to see how much of a mess I can make with this. I'm going to just shake it into my seashell, and I'm just going to take a few of the little ones and just, I don't want a button, and just pop them in there. You don't, in the bigger one, the buttons will fit. The little one, buttons don't fit. So you'll need little beads, and you can use bigger things and littler things. And then if you want to shake it to get your sand to move things around, you can do that on these. And then I think I'm going to use some of the pink beads as well, just because I really, really like them. And I'm going to use a funnel too, because these go everywhere. They will anyway, but it's easier if I have the funnel over it. Hold on, let me see if I can hold it all in place. I don't know how to do it. And it looks like a lot, and then when you shake it all around and you get your sand going, your sand will move everything to the bottom. Got too much sand in that one. We'll just take a little sand out. There. That's better. Okay. Then we're going to take our lid that is right here. Hard to believe it's right at hand. And I'm going to do exactly what I did before, and that is I'm going to put a little bit of glue. These ones you don't need to glue the top on because it's really tight, whereas the bigger ones are not as tight. And then you're going to run a little dollop of glue over the opening, and you wait for it to harden, which I'm not going to do because I don't want you to have to wait that long. And I'm just going to run a string or a ribbon through it. I recommend your ribbon to be about probably 8 inches long, and then that gives you the chance to make your hanging part longer, so that you wouldn't have to put a hook on it on the tree. That you can just use this. You can use your your loop to hang it on the tree. And then I like to cut my ends off on an angle like that, and then it makes it kind of look more festive, I think. And then if you do this to it, then your ends will look more like a bow. You can cut them a little bit shorter so they look more like a bow. As I said, you want to just pull them apart a little bit like that. Makes them look more like a bow, and then we're done. You can add more embellishments. Like if I wanted to, I could put some of this around the center or around the top of the bigger ball, but I like them just as they are. I thought this would be fun for you so that you could start planning for next Christmas by thinking about this summer where you go and where you could possibly pick up seashells or beads or baubles, and then after Christmas you could buy some of these inexpensively. And then remember, don't take sand from the beach for this, because Beach sand has a lot of organisms in it that are alive, and they will smell. So what we did with the Bermuda sand was we had to put that on newspaper and move it around for weeks to get that smell out of it. So I don't recommend you, that was after we rinsed it many times, but I don't recommend you bringing home beach sand. I recommend you buying it instead. And also, it's not good for the environment to steal the beach sand. And I'm sorry that I have it, but as I said, that was not my plan. The taxi driver was so sweet about it, and I didn't feel like I should say, no, I can't accept that. I probably should have, but I didn't. So I hope that you enjoyed this, that you'll give this a try. Make some small ones, make some big ones. Just remember the sand will act like quicksand and absorb a lot of what you put into it, so you want to use more baubles rather than less. And I think this is a lot of fun, and it's a great keepsake. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.